Morning,
Good morning.
Jericho.
Good morning. We're Coffee with the Summerland Kids. This is July 2024. It's July 11th. This is show number 69, and it is currently 62 degrees in our hometown of Summerland, California, with a high of 75. That's another beautiful day in Summerland. Aaron and I both wish we were to some degree there if we could afford it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just remembering the lifestyle. Maybe it's because we were kids. I think maybe it is because it is Summerland, but it was just
Yeah.
so happy and carefree. All we had to worry about was getting in by dark and
Right.
getting out of the way of the parents in the first thing in the morning. Especially
Right.
during summer, we just run down to the beach.
Yeah. And then, having a quarter for a Snickers bar or something,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's funny
Hitting.
because I remember being a kid and sometimes the newspaper machine, I guess,
Oh, yeah.
they didn't collect it all the time, so there would be quarters in the coin return. And so
Yeah.
I'd check it because I'd check the phone booth and I'd check the newspaper machine, and sometimes
Yeah.
I'd be lucky to find a couple quarters and go get a couple candy
Right.
bars.
I know. God. I mean, nowadays it's like frick. I mean, those tokens for us, those quarter marks, man. Those really did something for us back then. I can't remember how much soda was. I think soda was more than 25 cents. I mean, or 35-cent vending machines. I remember the vending machines, and maybe they were 35. Like I think we definitely lived through the changes of the vending machine, because back then it just took quarters, and then all of a sudden they made them take dollars at some point.
Yeah, I remember. I was thinking the same thing. I remember the sodas being about 35 cents.
Yeah, 35 cents, right. I love those
Now you
machines.
can't even get one of the mini. I mean, I guess some places have the mini candy bars for
Ooh.
25 cents.
Oh God, that's funny. Yeah, I love those machines that when they have the glass bottles in them, the Coke machines with the glass bottles, and how you'd like pull the bottle straight out of the little slot or something.
Yeah, I
Yeah, that
remember
was
that was at the little gas station there. I think
right.
I remember
Yeah,
that one because I
it
would
just
go in
felt
there.
so.
They had, I think, Pong or Breakout or something. One of
Okay,
the video
okay.
games. I
Yeah.
remember that definitely.
Yeah, it just felt so special when you had a bottle of Pepsi or Coke or whatever it was, and then the fact that you could essentially trade that bottle back in for I think 5 cents or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
man,
think that's
that's
and so today, in these day and age, everything's disposable. So it's like,
oh right, God,
how much packaging. I've got a whole separate garbage can just for recyclables.
oh right, for sure. That's
Cardboard and
smart.
whatnot.
At least you're doing that. That's good that you're doing that. In the community, I think if you guys have two trash cans, then a separate, or do you actually take to recycling center?
We actually have three trash cans. One for green
Okay.
waste,
Oh, nice.
one the blue bin for like cardboard, recyclables,
Cool.
and then the regular garbage bin. But yeah, I collect all the cans.
That's awesome.
Actually, my pile is getting a little bit big, so it's coming up on time.
Yeah.
Uh, I guess after 2 or 3 months, we have maybe $20 worth. So I just go recycle that and get ourselves a little lunch or something.
That's cool. Nice, nice. Yeah, I was running when I worked at the Humane Society. I was running cardboard for a little bit, boxes, and I would come up with like I think it was once a week. I was filling a truckload, all the way up to the level with the bed, a full load every week. And so there was a substantial amount of boxes coming through. And up here, unfortunately, they don't even they might do it, but they charge you for it. If you had a separate can for green waste or something like that, they would charge you, I think, for that. But anyways, mountain style. You'd think it would be almost more conscious in a more smaller community, but it's sort of almost not, unfortunately, in terms of the local recycling and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. It's the world goes. I like that. I've been gardening, so
That's
I
cool.
got a little garden going. So I'm actually able to recycle a lot of the green waste into a compost bin.
Oh,
I get
that's
to
awesome.
recycle the chicken leftovers in the recycle
Yeah,
bin.
yeah,
We can't immediately use those chicken droppings.
right.
Have to kind of let them season,
Uh-huh.
let them bake out in the sun for a summer. I guess that kills off all the bad microbes or any of the
That's
negative
cool.
things get to composting and
Right. Wow.
really
Nice.
good. I don't know how much gardening you're doing, but we spent about 3 or 4 hours yesterday just putting the worm castings, putting extra
Oh,
layer of
wow.
the wood chips so it'll retain the
Uh-huh.
water. Gave it a really good soak. Uh,
Cool.
kind of fight off the
The
heat wave.
heat, yeah, the heat wave. Yeah.
Planted
Wow.
a couple, planted some cucumbers and some squash, and I was
Okay.
looking at it. We actually got a little crookneck squash starting,
Oh, sweet.
so that's fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, I got a couple little plants, and my mom got a new flower plant that I planted, and I had to put the what do you call it, the wire mesh all around it, because otherwise the squirrels will pretty much jump up in everything, and so I have to like somewhat protect some of the plants with the wire protection. It's funny, the squirrels I think have planted a bunch of the sunflower seeds, so I think I got a few sunflowers started because the squirrels squirrels have planted the seeds for us.
Well,
So we'll
that's
see.
nice.
Yeah, we'll see if I can get a flower out of it. Maybe it'll actually produce a flower that I can give the squirrels back the harvest that they planted. you know,
Oh yeah.
God,
That's
Jesus.
sunflowers are so neat. When I was living in Atascadero, I forget what road it was, but there was like a little kind of corner where it
Uh-huh.
went off one way, and there's like a little triangle shaped area.
Okay.
I don't know who did it, but every year they'd be just massive. The whole little corner was sunflowers, and it
Oh
was.
wow,
I always
that's
remember driving by, and that was
that's
a nice little
cool.
area.
Yeah, that's awesome. So is the smoke subsided, or are you still in a little bit of smoke, or how's the
I
vibe?
don't see any. I mean, they got
Okay.
the Thompson fire is 100% contained.
Oh, sweet. Wow. Amazing.
You can still this morning I noticed
Woo!
off in the distance the sunrise looked a little bit oranger than normally.
Okay.
I
Okay.
imagine there's still some smoke, still some areas, but
Wow.
the good part is that it is contained,
That's
uh,
huge.
at least
Big
there's no
deal.
risk currently um,
Yeah.
for
That's
me.
that's a
So that's
big that's cool. That's a big deal for your community because I know that was like for a second there, man, that was kind of scary for sure. Like, oh shit. Like when your whole town's full of smoke, you're going like, oh man, what,
yeah. I mean, for people, it's hard because it seems like every couple years there's kind of a big fire. Paradise Fire, Yankee Hill burnt, up by Bald
Wow.
Rock burnt. So I imagine, definitely some people are suffering, like post traumatic stress because they
Right.
actually had to go through or lose their things from the fire. And then they move, and now there's another fire threatening. And, I guess maybe
Wow.
a lot of people are moving out of California. That might be one of the reasons.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it does shake you up. I mean, how far is Paradise from where you are? Is it like an hour or more?
It's about 35 minutes,
Oh
45 minutes, I
wow.
guess, depending on
That
traffic or which
that's
route you
that's
take.
that's pretty close. That's pretty close then.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a cool town. Do you think it was like a forestry town a long time ago, or what was the reason for it being developing there? Like
I
you
don't
just
know. I know that,
huh?
it was a beautiful area. It was just huge pine trees and I think redwood trees,
Okay,
just you go into town and like my aunt's house up there, just surrounded by just these beautiful trees. Her backyard had several big trees in it. We're not talking
Okay.
30 or 40 feet. We're talking, maybe 100 feet, 80, 100
Oh,
feet.
wow.
Just huge, beautiful, evergreen trees.
Wow. Wow. So, did those trees all burn in that fire?
It got devastated. I mean,
Devastated.
literally the whole town burnt.
Wow.
A
Okay.
lot of it
So
burnt to the ground.
kind of like Lahaina, right? Is that the town in Hawaii that burned where it just leveled the whole field, more or less?
Pretty much,
Yeah. Wow.
I guess it's nature's cycle. Nature, has fire in it. We
Yeah.
couldn't,
No, for
we
sure.
couldn't survive, I guess, as comfortably as we do if we didn't have fire.
Yeah. No, definitely. I
So you got
know.
to
I
take
mean,
the good and the bad with every situation.
right. I mean, we're drinking our hot coffee and that got hot somehow. So, that's what's up. God. Yeah.
Yeah, I did a yesterday. Oh gosh, I had, my morning coffee, but then I had one of
Yeah.
those iced coffees in the afternoon, and
Okay.
it zippeted me up. But then this morning I woke up and I guess I had a coffee hangover.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. That's crazy.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
I
Do you
mean,
ever have like an energy drink or an
oh,
iced coffee in the afternoon to kind of get a little
yeah.
woke up?
Yeah, no, for sure. Not all the time, but when you just need that little extra boost, because I think when Jason was visiting, sometimes I'd have an energy drink in the afternoon just to keep myself like keep firing on all cylinders style, a little boost, a little octane boost, for sure. Um, so yeah, just plugging through. I'm stoked that the roofers are coming today finally, and that's a relief that summertime for us is the only time that the work crews. I mean, they do work through winter here, which is pretty surprising, because we definitely get a fair amount of snow here. But the construction, like right now, maybe I'll take a picture of it tomorrow. There's a log cabin being built. I wouldn't even call it a cabin. I call it like a little. I mean, it's big. I mean, I don't know if you consider. I mean, maybe some people, if they're really living large and they're building, let's say, 2,500 square foot house, maybe you wouldn't call that a cabin. Maybe you call it a log home.
A lodge.
A lodge. That's better. I like that word. Yeah, lodge. So someone's building a lodge, and it's with all the pre-cut, pre-manufactured logs. So all the logs are perfectly the same, and they stack really well, like almost like a Lincoln log kid building your log house when you were a kid or something. So they haven't got a roof on it yet, but I imagine their goal is probably to get a roof on it before winter would be.
Yeah, you think you want to have a roof on things
Exactly,
before winter comes
man.
along.
Yeah,
That's for sure.
because I mean, we do get storms where we do get definitely a couple of feet of snow, I want to say, and then sometimes it can be backed up by another storm that's got another couple of feet. So that stuff can stack pretty quick, and you gotta more or less stay somewhat on it. I have a little Honda snowblower. It's kind of like almost like a, what do you call it? Almost like a lawnmower, except it's a little lawnmower on steroids that shoves that snow and shoots it up in the air. So, oftentimes you see those newscasts from back east, and they'll show someone out there with one of those, snowblowers doing their driveways. So that's kind of what we have to deal with here in the wintertime. It's pretty interesting.
How do you get off your lot? Well, during the snow when you got 2 feet of snow piled
Well,
up on the road.
we do have a sweet neighbor next to us, and we pay for trash. And in return, he has a plow on the front of his truck. And for him, he just has to drive down his own driveway. And in theory, he could just keep going straight and not even do our little horseshoe section. And it greatly helps us to have that benefit of having a neighbor further up the road from us, because he's essentially driving down the road, a little hill slope, and plowing the road as he goes. And so that's a big blessing. I mean, eventually I guess I need to manifest my game, the big man game to have the big man truck. I do have that truck now. It's an old '98 Chevy, but the real the big boys have a plow on their truck. Maybe not all season long, depending on how they roll. But that is part of your man kit up here. Is how. God.
Well, I guess you could be like Simpsons, get you a plow and then get a couple little parking lot jobs, and you can
I
be
know.
Mr. Plow like
Yeah,
did
and I'm
in the
down for that
Hummer.
because I like the morning, routine and all that. So we'll see. It's an investment. Like of course in the equipment, and there's a few old guys that like the classic characters that our generation older than us, but they're still working guys, and they drive an old truck and count with a few local businesses and do the plowing. I think they have a retainer kind of a thing where they get paid. Whether they get paid like a flat rate on a monthly flat rate, I believe.
All right, so if there's no snow, they still get a check.
Yeah.
But if there's 3 snowstorms, they got to get out there and clear it 3 times.
Exactly. So that's a thing, and for the local businesses, it's an added kind of like clear the front of their business out because you don't want anybody slipping and falling. So you have to shovel out your shop. So I guess it's sort of like it does make you feel like it's Christmas. It's a white Christmas, all that stuff. So that's cool,
Yeah. So you got a hailstorm.
Yeah.
You were telling me before we came live. You got a hailstorm here in mid-July.
Yeah, mid-July hailstorm yesterday. It was just a good 5 minutes, maybe 10. It was a noise. I'm like, that sounds like pretty harsh rain. And I looked out, I'm like, oh man, it's freaking hail. So I feel for the farmers. You can have grandiose ideas but the reality is weather can really throw a wrench in your farming. Not covered essentially, to some degree, because we're 1,000 feet. You're really pretty much in an app can happen. It's like.
Oh yeah, I mean, in the middle of July, you think your crops are all planted,
Yeah,
you're doing real good, and then all of a sudden, a hail comes and knocks everything down. Now, what about like the cars? I know I've watched, seen the hail damage on vehicles. I guess in Texas where they have softball or baseball size hail sometimes.
We did when Jason was here. I had a extra bunch and a couple tarps. So we covered his car just to be safe because he had some glass sunroofs on his Ford Flex. So but my old '98 Chevy truck and mom's old '96 Jeep, seen it all, and it's like it doesn't matter anymore, kind of style on those. So
Jason made it up to his destination.
Yeah, he made up to his. And he's been working. And he's been doing like power washing. I guess they had like a power wash the driveway. He's been doing some tractor with a tractor, I think, or a little sit down mower. But it's so much they have out there. Sounds beautiful, like Little House on the Prairie style. And then they plant some trees along a tree line, and so it's sort of like an old gas station that's probably not in use anymore, but still the old gas pumps are still there. So some of those old towns, like probably like an old 1940s, 1950s movie set. Back then, I think there was a lot more perhaps energy with the like maybe second generation or first generation farming. First generation, second generation farmers. Like, let's say if you got there and in the 20s or something like that, and then you were born, and like my dad was born. He's 82 years old now, so each generation has to pick left off, and in some cases there just isn't the same energy there was. So
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I watched some of these YouTubes about just about how back in our day when we were growing up, I guess the cost of living, seemed like it was going up, but you could still buy a house. The house cost, I guess maybe 1 or 2 years salary, where now, you're gonna need almost 10 years of salary to cover the cost of a house, almost a whole year's salary just to make a down payment.
Right. If you're lucky and fortunate to be able to somehow stow away a year, I kind of thought of it like in terms of two people have to be both, ass kicking, career motivated, major breadwinners, so to speak, afford it. Afford buying in to a first home, much less a second home, vacation home, or something like that. That's like these days for sure. So it's getting pretty. We'll see what happens with the election. Apparently, I've been seeing a few things online about the what is it, the stock market, and the folks that have money in their retirement funds. Apparently, they're okay. Funds have gone up, so they're not now. But I know things can change drastically. But at least everybody's that has money in the stock market seems to be doing good right now. So that's cool, for that.
Yeah, that's it's good to have a little nest egg.
Yeah.
Per se, I think back when I first learned about Bitcoin, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was it was a big deal that it went from $10 to $100, but you could buy a single Bitcoin for like $100, $200. I always thought, oh, maybe I should put a few $100 extra into that, and I could just imagine, okay, so if I had bought maybe $1,000 worth of Bitcoin, 5 Bitcoins, it'd be $250,000 now.
Oh my God.
And
yeah.
With technology and stuff, it's really, really interesting, how different things can have value. Like Amazon. I was watching this thing about Amazon, and the first however many years, it was based on investors investing in this company, and the company not making money. Every year it reinvests. And now you look at Amazon, I don't know what their stock is at or if they're actually in the profit, but gosh, they're everywhere. I got needed a tool to fix my truck to get the steering arm, pulled, basically a puller. And it was just so easy. Oh, well, the guy at the store didn't have one, at the parts store. But we found one online. So, just click the button, order it, and it's on its way. It'll be here in a few days.
Yeah.
So it's definitely made things easier with Amazon and eBay and online shopping.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's just really interesting, how a company can go from, 10 years of no profit to just this huge juggonaut of a shopping mall.
Exactly. I mean, I think you just really himself and how the convenience of buying, and then all of the independent sellers that have centers basically. So, you know, it's you know, he's getting a cut like it's a giant swap meet, but he's the swap meet master, and he's collecting money. And not only is he collecting money from your vending dues for the day, he's getting us too. So talk about a
oh yeah, the middleman, the middleman. He's got to pivot from here to there. You know, oh, you want to sell something? Well, I can help you sell. Oh, you want to buy something? I can help you buy something.
Yeah.
He's just taking the seller and the buyer and giving a platform for them to interchange.
Yeah.
Give me my 10%.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, that guy's just. And then the brilliance of being one with the technology and leaning into the technology and develop to be able to handle and process all those orders. It's phenomenal, man. It's how it's changed. You know, it's not.
Have you ever seen any videos on those warehouses that they have? Those huge warehouses. Guys running around all day long, little cart pulling pulling, you know, order lists and packing them, and that's a whole nother part of the infrastructure, you know, that warehouse and facilitating transactions. For sure. As well, Park has done, I think, at least one episode on the Amazon situation. So making fun at what is it, Benzos and all that stuff, you know, they can't help how long those guys have been running. It's like, it may be 25 years. I'd have to look. But they're definitely the 90s, put it that way. So that's for us. I mean, now there's kids that are years old and they were born in the year 2000. It's like, dude, why? No, it's like, we're those guys who are alive in the 19th century, put it that way. You know, 20th century dudes, you know. Yeah, I mean, it's mind blown. It's interesting because my son, you know, was born in that age where when he was born, there was video games, there was computers and all this. And, you know, he's taking a CD collection and putting it into a digital format. But at the same time, he got into vinyl records. So he's got a vinyl record player and he collects some of these old vinyls. And every now and then, you know, I'll find one at a swap meet, you know, one of the songs or one of the bands or albums that I remember and enjoy. So I'll maybe get that for Christmas or his birthday and be like, oh, here's a record for your collection, even though it's just, you know, 2 clicks away to download it to his computer or listen to it on YouTube. I guess there's still something a little bit nostalgic about, you know, having that vinyl. There's a certain aspect of how it sounds, the sound of the old vinyl, you know, like when we were first doing the podcast, how we were like, oh, that kind of has like a old radio vibe because it was just the way it sounded, you know. No, for sure. I got a buddy who goes to swap meets, or I should say collector weekend. He's pretty much going to a different collectible show. He's pretty much vending records is his main thing. So he's out, I think, actively buying and actively selling, and he repackages them in brand new slip covers so they look fresh and very fair comparatively to some other folks. Like there's people record stores, but they're holding on too tight to their collection and they're asking prices. So that's a thing about, you know, being a seller vendor of it. And then I guess, you know, what your audience, because I think a lot of hip 20-somethings who are super into the collecting certain genres of music, you know, and they see a value in it because buy it for $5 or $10, but hey, on eBay, maybe it's 15, 20, 25 for that lower number because they're basically investing. It's, you know, another way to hold value, I guess, you know, so that's cool. Yeah, it's a fun hobby. I was helping a friend who had a punk rock album collection vinyl, And so I
Oh,
helped
wow.
them do some things. And there's like a little, it's like a website that is focused on, vinyl albums. So
Cool, cool.
Jericho, it's that time again.
Yeah, it's that time, man. Cheers to another number 69. Good conversation, good coffee. Thanks, bro. I'll send you the info right now on the daily.
All right. Have an awesome day, bud.
Later.